What is going on, guys and gals? It is your boy J-Love coming back at you with another video right now about hotshot trucking and trucking in general. In this video, I'm going to give you my #1 tip for being successful in hotshot trucking in 2022. Guys and gals, one thing I've realized since starting our hotshot trucking company, or our trucking company now in general, new video to come, I realize there are a lot of different things, or a lot of different ways to do the same thing, if you know what I'm saying. If you go on YouTube and you talk to different YouTubers, you talk to different guys that are in the trucking company, just in general, they do things in a lot of different ways because most likely their goals are different, right? One thing I've realized, guys, that's really super important is to set your goals or to figure out what you want to do. You know, because there are a lot of different people in trucking that have a lot of different roles. There's a lot of different fleet owners, a lot of different drivers that have a lot of different goals, right? So you might talk to one person, he might tell you one thing. You might talk to another person, he might tell you another thing. You might talk to a third person, he might tell you another thing. But at the end of the day, guys, it's going to be based off of what your personal goals are, right? If you guys look at people who are doing YouTube Hotshot right now, let's talk about Hotshot Mac. Super awesome guy. I really like his content. He does mostly vlogs, so he garnishes a lot of views. He is a one truck company right now. He owns his own authority and he drives his own truck, right? He does have another truck. He just made a video about putting a driver in it, but he doesn't think he's going to get on the road. But he is a one truck authority. He has his own authority and he drives that truck, right? And then you look at somebody like Hotshot Benny, right? Hotshot Benny, you could say, is leased on or is a company driver for his dad's authority. I know that he's been buying his own trucks too. They got a Sim on the road, so I'm not completely sure how deep he is in all of it, but he mostly is working for his father's authority. So either he has his own truck or he's driving one of his dad's truck, and so he does things based off of that, right? And he has his own set of goals that might be different than Hotshot Max. Then you watch somebody like Toe Piglet, who doesn't really own any trucks. He does like the leases from Enterprise, and then he has a semi truck that's on lease, and he leases on a ton of people. You know, anybody who hits him up with a truck and trailer looks like he's going to lease them on. No hate to you, Toe Piglet, you're a savage, but he might have a lot of trucks on the road. And he might do things a lot different than what Hotshot Mac might do or what Hotshot Benny might do. And then you look at somebody like Flash Logistics or myself. You know, my goal is not to drive a truck. It is to provide the best possible service to the people that are leasing onto us, as well as getting our own trucks on the road that we personally own. And so I work with lease-ons. Now, I don't do non-CDL hotshot at all. And I work with people who have kind of bigger setups. You know, the smallest setup I'll allow on the fleet's like a 3500 with a 25 GN. 40 footer. I only work with 40 footers. And so that's because that is what's best for our goals, right? If Toe Piglet wants to help all these non-CDL guys out and that's what he wants to do, then that probably aligns better with what his goals are, right? So he makes different decisions based off what his goals are, based off what my goals are, right? But what I see as a big problem is everybody wants to tell people how they do it and why it's the best way. Now, if you guys watch my videos, I'm never one to like tell you what you have to do. All I really do is try to give you info about what we are doing and how it is working for us. You know, but for my system, for example, it's really important that I have great dispatchers in place that are hired and cost money. It's important that I use a factoring company at this stage, even though we are starting to, you know, not use a factoring company as much. It's important that I have a fuel card that always works. It's important that only one fuel card, you know, makes life easy. And these are the things that are important to my system and to my company, right? We have our own authority. So if you're somebody who's an owner-operator looking to lease on with somebody, I might do things a lot different than how you would do them if you had your own authority, but you're not in the same situation as me and we don't have the same goals, right? And so a lot of people might say, you know, well, I want to dispatch myself. I don't want to use a factoring company. I want to book my own loads. I don't want to use a dispatcher. I don't want to spend this money. You know, I want to try and hold on to as much money as possible. Now, I would say first off that trucking in general is not a get-rich-quick scheme at all. And it's really important for me with my goals to build a system that's going to sustain itself over a long period of time. Okay, now, I see a lot of people that get into trucking and they try to do everything themselves and they do good for about 2, 3, maybe 4 months, but then they get tired and they want to go home. But the problem is if they're not on the road running, they're not making any money at all, right? So they're constantly pressured to be on the road. And they also get tired. They get tired of dispatching themselves. They find out that some of the people they've hauled for aren't trying to pay and they're worried about that. And just all that good stuff, right? They're having a hard time finding loads because They're trying not to use, that many load boards. They're trying to save as much money as possible, whatever the case may be, because that's their goals, right? And I think it's a lot harder way to go about it, but I don't think it's a bad way. I think if you want to do that, more power to you, man, but that's not going to work with the system that I have going, because I need to provide the best quality of service to our lease-ons, no matter what the cost is, right? Having the best dispatchers possible, having the best fuel card that might cost a premium, having great LEDs that might cost a premium, but they work really well. Keeptruckin has been my go-to ELD provider ever since we started our Hotshot trucking company back in 2020. We've grown that company from 1 truck all the way up to 5 trucks currently, and we only use Keeptruckin ELDs. They've been super, super easy to use, not only for my drivers, but for me as well. If you're a fleet manager and you're looking for an easy interface to be able to pull IFTA reports, to be able to watch your drivers and see where they're at in real time, to be able to look at each driver's hours, to be able to see if their trucks are having or pulling any engine codes. That's one thing I really like about the Keeptruckin, is it will let you look at what engine codes are being pulled from that truck. So if they are having small problems, instead of the driver freaking out about it because their engine light is on, you can tell them, oh, it's nothing super big. We'll get it checked out tomorrow or when we do our reset. One thing I really like as well is I can see how fast my drivers are going in real time, and it's just an all-around good product. Keeptruckin has recently changed their name from Keeptruckin to Motive, but it's the same great company with the same great customer service. One thing I just picked up was I picked up 5 of these road-facing dash cameras. I'm really excited to be able to throw them into our trucks to help us get a higher level of safety on the road. Now, these dash cameras are super, super awesome, not only because they give me a live stream so I can watch as a fleet manager what is going on in real time, but obviously it's going to be recording everything that goes on. So if there is, in any case, an accident that might happen on the road, or somebody cutting our drivers off, or just something in the road that causes a problem, you'll be able to go back and see what it was, and that's going to help you out when it comes to, problems with insurance or anything like that. They also have AI built into them, so they're going to be able to notify the driver if the driver is getting cut off by somebody, or if they're running up on somebody going a little too fast. When drivers are driving multiple hours a day, it's really good to have somebody there or something there that's going to help you stay safer on the road. So guys, I have a link down below. Please click on my link. If you guys do need an ELD provider, Motive, aka Keeptruckin, is there to help, guys. Thank you so much. That's what my goal is to provide the best quality of service to my lease-ons so I can continually get more lease-ons, get my own trucks in place, and make a large amount of money each month over, the next 25 years, right? That is my goal, okay? And so I do things that are important to that goal. Now, let's say, for example, Hotshot Mac. And Hotshot Mac, if you're watching this, I don't know your goals, man. Feel free to drop a comment and let me know. But for example, when I watch his videos, I see a man who has his own authority and is a one-truck operator. Now, I don't see somebody who really wants to build a gigantic fleet, maybe in due time. But in his time right now, it's a lot different than what we're dealing with, right? So maybe he has his wife dispatch for him, or he dispatches for himself. I don't know what factoring company he used, but he probably definitely uses a factoring company. And like what I'm trying to get at is each of us have separate goals, and so we're going to do things differently. It doesn't mean that somebody's in the wrong. It just means that we realize what our goals are and we do things based off of that. Now, the biggest problem I see is when somebody tries to get into trucking, it is very easy persuadable, and they do not have a goal set in stone. For example, right, I had a couple of guys that just hired our dispatching company to start dispatching for them, and they're over in Washington. 2 really awesome guys, but there's this story just kind of brought this to mind. They were having a hard time making money. They had ran through a couple dispatchers. They weren't making that much money. I said, hey man, you guys are in Washington, let's get you out to the Midwest, and we'll definitely make you some money. So we got them out to the Midwest. We kept them there for about a week, and we made them over $3 a mile on each load that they moved. After that, they said they wanted to go home, which is no problem. Okay, let's go back and we'll get you home. So obviously getting from the Midwest to Washington sometimes isn't the easiest thing in the world. So we sent them to Salt Lake. We sent them to Denver. But at the end of it, both of them got to Salt Lake, right? And they were talking to some guys there that were saying how they run partials on this side of the United States and how they make at least $10,000 a week. They're from the Midwest, but they come over here because it's where the money is, blah, blah, blah. And to me, that's completely untrue. Obviously, you probably make some good money doing partials, but it's a lot harder for everybody involved. And it's not as consistent as, like, let's say, dedicated freight or full-size loads that pay, $260 plus a mile. So they kind of had a conversation with them, and once they got home, they actually texted my dispatcher and said, hey, we really just want to stay in Washington, California, Nevada, and Utah. We talked to these guys, they're running partials. Do you think that maybe we could do that? And they kind of just changed their whole plan right there after we just made them good money. And I called them and I said, hey guys, let us keep going the way that we go. If it's not working after a month, you're more than happy to do whatever you want, or we'll change up kind of how it's working because it might work different for you. But please let us do this, because at the end of the day, you can't just take this guy's word, some dude you met at a truck stop in the middle of nowhere, and change your whole company based off of it, right? If you want to do that, more power to you. But in my mind, it's ludicrous, right? We have a proven system that's been working for the past, 12 months. Let's just run with the proven system and make it better as time goes on. Like, let's do it, right? And so that example, guys, is somebody who maybe doesn't have their goals set completely 100%. And obviously your goals can be ever changing. They can be ever evolving. They can get better with time as you learn more. But it's important that you have your eye single to something and that you're working towards it, right? And so those guys, for example, they both have their own authority. They're brothers, but they have separate authority. And they're trying to make as much money as possible, but they're willing to hire a dispatching company because that's going to be a valuable asset to them in the long run. And so they have those goals. But when they're willing to switch, basically how they run right out the gate, that can be a problem, right? And so it's really important, guys, to realize, what is my goal? What do I want? Do I want to be a fleet owner of multiple trucks? Do I want to have a lot of my own trucks? Do I want to lease on a lot of people? Do I want to drive just one truck and make profit off that and get my own authority and hire a dispatcher? Do I want to just do everything myself plus get my own authority and just hold on to as much profits as possible? So there are many different ways to do trucking, whether it's Hotshot or big rig or whatever, just logistics in general. But you need to figure out what your goals are, what works best for you, guys. I want to make this video real quick to let you know that it is important to have your goals set in stone at the beginning and to really go towards that. Like I said, do not be afraid to evolve your goals, to change them a little bit, but realize what is the end game here. My end game for me is to be financially free, guys. Is to provide the best system to the people that are leased on, provide the best system for the drivers that drive my trucks so that they feel well compensated, well taken care of, and they have a good amount of home time with their family. So that's what I work towards every single day, and I'm willing to change that up when needed. But we've been truly, truly blessed, guys, and I'm so thankful for the company I have, and I'm so thankful for the YouTube channel I've been able to create. And for everybody watching this video, guys, thank you guys so much for being here. Remember, figure out what you want your goals to be before you invest any money in this. Figure out what you want the end game to be and where you want to be in 10 years, because it's super important, guys, and just send it. Don't overthink it. Watch people that have like-minded goals as you and get after it. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.